This next section is on the North Node and the South Node. And that is more about where we are going and the things we're trying to let go of. So to me, it's a bit more forward moving. And some people might be here because they're Jan Spiller fans and they've read her amazing book, Astrology for the Soul. If you haven't, I can't say enough good things about it. She really kind of brought the nodes mainstream for people. It had been talked about in astrology before her book, but not really in a packaged, understandable way where people could use it in their daily lives. And so this is why, among many reasons, that she's celebrated. And I love to talk about them in personal charts. And it's also kind of interesting to look at how the nodes influence the entire planet. And I thought I'd do a quick little explanation. I don't even have a screen share. You're going to love it. I have my diagram. I did this during a Facebook Live talk this year, just so you can get a visual of what in the heck are nodes. Well, here you see we've got the Earth. It's on what's called the ecliptic that orbits the sun. And then here's our moon. You can see down here, it's doing its own thing, orbiting the Earth. And these points in the sky are where those two orbits intersect. And there's a northern one and a southern one. And these points are unique in that they move through the zodiac from our perspective backwards. That's kind of different. And they change their sign that they're in about every year and a half. So we get a fresh energy for what's going to guide us. If you've read Astrology for the Soul, so hopefully everyone kind of got that visual. I won't hold it up the whole time. Hopefully you can get a sense of the North Node as energy that is useful, that is going to lead to success. So that's why it's cool to know what sign the North Node is in for this year. And it's in Gemini. And it's good to know in your personal chart, but we're going to look at the global one right now because we think, okay, we just came out of, if the nodes are moving backwards, during last year, during 2020, May was when the North Node moved back from the sign of Cancer into the sign of Gemini. So we had just spent, before May 2020, we had spent a year and a half with this water sign North Node. It was really guiding us to get in touch with our emotions, to really see humans. I remember there was so much in the forefront on families, and not that it's not still going on, but it seemed like it became really magnified how families were being ripped apart and detaining children at the border. And this was like a beacon the world needed to see. We are the mothers, we are the nurturers of everybody, and we need to really enact that now. And just because the North Node moved into Gemini in May of 2020 doesn't mean we forget that. That's still a piece of the journey that we carry with us. But now the next thing we're working on is how we connect, how we stay connected, how we process information. That's a Gemini theme. How we learn. I'd say it's putting a huge, huge emphasis on communications in the media and social media. And this is, again, like Elizabeth said, it's a gift, and it sometimes feels like a curse where there's information overload. But just like with this square between Saturn and Uranus that sort of correlates with this age of information enlightenment, I think this North Node in Gemini strengthens that. It is calling on us to sift through the information. We can definitely use some discernment and figure out what we need to get and tune out what we don't, just like in this talk. If the astro lingo is too much, you're really focusing in on, okay, what are the important themes? And Gemini is like that. It's about the details. Now let's think about the Sagittarius South Node, because when I gave this talk on Facebook Live, somebody was worried because they were a Sagittarius and they thought, well, that, the South Node is in my sun sign. And I wanted to make sure that all of my Sagittarius friends knew that's not a negative thing. I see it as this is your year and your time, if it didn't already happen last year, to finally let go of some things. It's a very purging energy. South Node stuff is things that are not going to work for you and in this lifetime. And I think if the South Node is passing over the sun in your birth chart, that you may even be releasing things that don't come from this lifetime. It can be that big level of a purge. So don't fear the South Node in your sign. If you are a Gemini and your birthday is May 22nd to June 10th, you will have the North Node in Gemini pass over your sun sign at some point in the year. And if you're a Gemini that's outside of those birthdays, it happened already. And maybe you felt it. When the North Node in the sky passes over the sun in your birth chart, it is really focusing you on the big picture, on your purpose. A lot of times people kind of feel that call of, aha, I realize now this is what I need to be doing. And so it can really activate you, and it can be especially activated for anybody that's been working on a big creative project. It's a nice cosmic support for what you're doing. Now, the thing to really watch out for in the next few months is the planet Neptune is going to be squaring the North and South Node. So remember squares from the last section, tension. So most of the year, these nodes are doing their thing unobstructed. But right now, through March, is the strongest square from Neptune to the nodes. And if we're considering the North Node in Gemini ruling information regarding the future, and the South Node in Sagittarius regarding information and knowledge based in the past, and Neptune being a planet of confusion and illusion and delusion in a challenging position, it makes sense that people do not know what the heck is going on, and that the things that we're being told even have this weird feel sometimes. Like, that's weird. Did we miss part of the story? Like, these things aren't adding up. And this can be globally or in our personal lives. Depending on your chart, you could feel it, a lot more strongly. Like I said, our Gemini, Sagittarius people, but also some Pisces and Virgo people who are also kind of in what they call this axis of signs. Really questioning right now and feeling maybe confused. Just know after March, that square weakens, we may have more of a chance to see. And it felt like we've been spending a lot of time, even in 2020, saying, well, we'll know more in a few months. We'll know more, whether it's the virus, whether it's politics, we'll know more shall be revealed. And it feels like, well, till after this square, we're still saying that. But there is indicators for more clarity, I think, after this square clears. So in the next few months, I think it's really important to take extra care in your communications. One thing that's also happening next month that I will go more detail at the end of the talk is a Mercury retrograde. So I thought, there's going to be a Neptune square and a Mercury retrograde in the month of February. Good to know. I would really try not to put pressure during the next couple months to make major decisions. If you can wait till after this square ends. And then when we learn more about the retrogrades at the end of the talk, you'll kind of, I'll fill in the rest of the blanks about some good windows of time when you will be supported to do that. So that's really most of the rundown. Just being careful because things can really be different than they appear. And Neptune isn't really trying to trick us or anything like that. But I think the illusions of Neptune kind of help us pay more attention, so we don't just take things for granted. And it can be a productive time to try to form our own visions of what we want to see. One thing that's really supported this year for everybody, whether or not you consider yourself to be a writer, is just writing things down, expressing yourself in writing, just even for yourself personally, because the sign of Gemini, which is our North Node, rules writing in particular, but really all communications. So keep that in mind. If things start to feel overwhelming, confusing, even if it makes no sense, just writing it out, you can review it later after Neptune is not squaring the nodes and kind of see what gems you can mine out of there. And that just keeping your calm so that you don't have a reaction based on misinformation, which is a great, I think, theme to follow for all the time, and especially this time period in history right now. So, yeah, let me see. Did I say the Sagittarius North Node or Sagittarius South Node passing over the sun for Sagittarius friends, November 24th to December 11th, just to give a little heads up on that. You can know, okay, this year is a particularly potent year for me to finally purge some thoughts, some habits, some behaviors, whatever it is that maybe you don't even know why you've been doing. But I think a lot of the shadow Sagittarius energy can be thinking it's right or it's wrong, and there's no middle ground. And I think if you are Sagittarius who's having the South Node transit of the South Node across your sun, you might be learning, well, maybe there is something in the middle. You know, it's not either or. I think an example, I used to kind of think either I don't assert myself and remain quiet without being acknowledged, or I have to be a bitch, you know, or something like that. And it's like, no, actually, there's probably something in the middle. But, you know, and I'm not even a Sagittarius, but I have a few planets there where I really couldn't see, wait a minute, people assert themselves in a different kind of way. So think about maybe something like that. And then Gemini people, if the North Node is going over your sun this year, take advantage of that time. What do you want to make happen on a bigger scale for yourself? How can you contribute your Gemini gifts towards what's going on in the world now? Your ability to connect and communicate and gather information, this kind of thing. So yeah, I'm seeing that this is, yeah, people, there's a South Node Sagittarius people in the house. So thank you, yeah, for listening to this section. I think that's all I have on that one. Oh, wait, I do have one more thing. And I think this is important during the Neptune squaring the nodes. When I was thinking about Neptune, it can also be the planet of addiction. And with Gemini ruling media and social media, I thought, oh, this next few months, people may really have to curb their impulse to check the news and social media like every 2 minutes, because it's addicting and it's detracting. Sure, we need to keep up with what's going on in the world, but it can also majorly derail us from some very productive things we could be doing to help better the world around us. And, you know, I'm going to try to follow that rule for myself, too. So if you find yourself and you think, oh, that Neptune, it wants me to read the news feed all day, but I'm not going to fall into the trap, you know? So hopefully that'll be helpful for you as well.